In 1957, a film came out of India that made the entire world weep. Mother India. A story so powerful, so raw, so completely human that it was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film. But it lost by one vote, one single vote. And in the next 67 years since that night, India, the world's largest film industry, a country that produces more films than any other nation on this earth, has never won, not once. Today, I want to tell you exactly why, and the answer is not what you think. In 2023, India came closer than it had in decades. RRR, one of the most spectacular films ever made, was the talk of the entire world. Naatu Naatu won the Oscar for Best Original Song. The Elephant Whisperers won Best Documentary Short. But RRR itself not selected as India's official entry. That decision caused an uproar. Fans were furious, critics were baffled, and it raised a question that Indians have been asking for decades. Why does a country with such a rich, powerful, globally beloved film culture keeps failing or in some cases refusing to compete at the highest level? This is not a simple question. The answer involves politics, identity, snobbery, strategy, and a fundamental tension at the heart of Indian cinema itself. Let's go through it. India has been submitting films to Oscars since 1957. Mother India, as I said, came within one vote of winning. Salam Bombay in 1989, Meera Nair's devastating portrait of street children in Mumbai, was nominated. Lagaan in 2001. 3 nominations total. 3 nominations from thousands of films across 7 decades. Now, compare that to France, which has won 5 times, Italy, which has won 11 times, Japan, which has produced some of the most Oscar celebrated world cinema ever made. What do those countries have that India doesn't? The selection problem. Here's something most people don't know. India does not submit its most watched, most beloved, most internationally recognized film to the Oscars. It submits whatever a committee decides is worthy. The committee, the Film Federation of India, has made some choices over the years that left filmmakers, critics, and audiences completely speechless. For example, in 2013, they selected The Good Road over The Lunchbox. The Lunchbox had already received a standing ovation at Cannes. It went on to become one of the most internationally distributed Indian film in history. The Good Road was almost unknown outside India. In 2022, they selected Last Film Show over RRR, a film that had not yet been released in most international markets when the selection was made. The committee operates without transparency, without public criteria, and without accountability. And years after years, the result baffles the very industry it is supposed to represent. Now, and I want to be fair here, there are people who will say the problem is not the selection committee. The problem, they argue, is Bollywood itself. The argument goes like this: Bollywood films are too commercial, too musical, too melodramatic, too focused on entertainment rather than art. The Oscar, especially in the foreign film category, tend to reward quiet, realistic, socially serious cinema, not song and dance spectacles, and honestly, there is some truth in that. Look at the films that win Best International Feature. They tend to be slow, intimate, painful, like Parasite, Coda, The Great Beauty, Roma. These are not films that break into song when a character falls in love. But here is where I push back. Japan's Spirited Away won the Oscar for the Best Animated Film in 2003. It is a wildly stylized, fantastical, completely non-realistic film. It is not a quiet drama. It is riot of colors and imaginations. Taiwan's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, won 4 Oscars, including Best Foreign Film. It is a martial art fantasy with flying sword fighters. The idea that the Oscars only reward grim realism is simply not true. What they reward is craft, originality, and confidence. And that is exactly where I think the real problem is. Not with Bollywood style, but with India's relationship to its own cinema. Here is my actual argument, and I want you to sit with this. India has never won an Oscar in the competitive category because the people who select the films do not fully believe that Indian commercial cinema is worthy of world's highest cinematic honor. There is completely embedded cultural snobbery inherited partly from British colonialism, partly from post colonial anxiety about how India is perceived abroad. That says the films ordinary Indians love, the big, colorful, spectacular Bollywood films, are not serious enough for the world stage. So, instead of submitting the film that the world is already watching, already loving, already seeking out, India submits smaller, safer, more art house choices that never break through. For example, RRR was watched by audiences in Japan, in America, in Germany, in Brazil. It created an international moment. It was a genuine global cultural phenomena, and India did not submit it. Meanwhile, South Korea, with no such identity crisis, submitted Parasite with complete confidence. And Parasite did not just win the foreign film category, it won Best Picture, the first non English language film ever to do so. The difference was not talent. India has produced filmmakers as great as Bong Joon-ho, Satyajit Ray received as honorary Oscar in 1992. The Academy itself acknowledged his greatness. The difference was the confidence. The difference was a country that looked at its own cinema and said, "This is worthy of world. Take it or leave it." Until India does the same, I don't think the situation changes. I want to end with this. India has produced some of the great films ever made. Pyasa, Mother India, Mughal-e-Azam, Lagaan, Dil Chahta Hai, films that have moved people across languages, across culture, across continents. The Oscars do not define greatness. A film is not great because it won a statue in Hollywood, and plenty of the greatest films ever made were never nominated for anything. But the Oscar question matters because it reveals something about how India sees itself. And I think India, its filmmakers, its audiences, its institution is finally beginning to change that relationship. RRR may not have been submitted, but the conversation it started is not over. My question for you is that, do you think India will ever win the Best International Feature Oscar in your lifetime? And if so, which film do you think deserves to be the one that breaks through? Let me know in the comment section because I read every single comment. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. I make these kind of deep dive essays every week, and I shall see you in the next one.